What is up, guys, and welcome to TBF Week 1 Power Rankings. I am joined with Gumby,
Hey guys, what's up?
and I'm, of course, excellent name, and let's just jump right into number 12 picks. I have Reno Raikko's and coached by Kohunks here. This is, of course, the randomized draft, and after this week, we have seen that he is indeed not taking this league very seriously. He brought a bunch of joke sets to his game, including stuff like Scarf Aware, and he just didn't play like he had a game plan, really. He just kind of threw out his Pokemon, started clicking buttons, setting up. Not a lot of thought process went into the game, I don't think. He clearly just isn't putting a lot of effort. And as this is, by principle, a competitive list, power rankings are supposed to kind of gauge how competitive people are in the game. I don't think it's really fair to rank someone who's not playing competitively any higher than last. So that's why he's down here.
Which I guess is pretty fair. I just still put the Colorado Agrons coached by Jingus below him. Like Jingus also lost his match 3-0, same as Cohen did. But even though Cohen didn't really try to do anything in this match, he still played better than Jingus did, which really is sad if you think about it. Like Jingus probably sacked his number one answer to a lot of his enemy's team in like super early, the Pythagoras, and at least Cohen didn't do any sacky unnecessary plays, and I don't know, like it's super mean to say that Jingus played awful, but it's power rankings, and someone has to be put in last. And if you like if you sack your main answer to most of the enemy team in like early rounds, it just doesn't like impress me that much. So I'm sorry, Jingus, but that play sucked. Okay, so
Yeah, I get it. I don't think Kohang played the worst out of the losses. I agree that Jingus probably did play the worst, but Kohan did play badly enough to not warrant being placed higher. But yeah, Jingus, why the fuck did you sack Kofag basically turn one? Right off the start, you decided, I don't need this for anything like Terrakion. Why would I need to keep this? And just even aside from that, you made questionable decisions as to which Pokemon should handle what. The Flareon, for example, was very clearly the designated Victini check, and you decided that Victini would be the optimal way to revenge kill it. I get that you didn't necessarily have too much for Flareon, which once again is kind of just like misprep. So yeah, you just kind of didn't play very well, and you didn't prep particularly well either. Slacking is not a good Pokemon as much as you want it to be. Stop bringing Slacking. I know it's week 1. I see a trend, though, based on how you've been talking about it, that Slacking might come way more than it should.
Dude, people sleep on Slacking, okay? Bennett Giga Impact? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's hard. I won't deny that. But, I'm not personally a big fan of giving free setup to opponents. But that's neither here nor there. I guess we'll jump into number 10 now, where we both have Baron and the Paris Paragons, I believe.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. So why don't you talk about that?
So Baron and the Paris Paragons lost to Levi or Levi. I don't know what it is.
Levi Jeans is, I believe, how you pronounce it.
Levi, okay. Fair enough, I guess. But yeah, like he
lost. Correct us.
Exactly. Correct us, Levy, dude from the Toronto Revals. That's it. But yeah, like we put him, or like I put him here at least. Yeah, like he lost to the Toronto Revals, as we just said, and even though he did have answers for the Coco, which was like the one which won Levi the match. Won him the match. I mean. It's just like he had answers for that in his Porygon 2 and in his how am I call it, Ferrothorn. But he just sacked those two Pokemon off. And basically robbed himself of any chance of winning the matchup himself. So pretty questionable play, if you want to say it nicely. And that's why I put him here.
Yeah, I'm not going to be quite so nice about it. It was really stupid. You had...
Love it.
Look, the Skunk Tank had revealed Flamethrower. You swapped out of the Skunk Tank the first time and saw that it had Flamethrower, and you still decided, I'm going to power whip this Skunk Tank. Even though it was already paralyzed, it was of no threat. You decided, let's sack the one answer to Coco I have, also his biggest answer to Lycanroc Dusk. He just clicked buttons, it felt like. He didn't have much of a game plan, I don't think. He set up Trick Room, but he didn't really have anything that was really going to be really good at abusing it. I guess it was Incineroar was his supposed abuser. He didn't click Recover with Porygon at all, really. Not until like super late game for some reason when it was already too late. He let it get toxic. And he also like didn't even bring much to break Seismitoad outside of Ferrothorn. Obviously, he's not going to stay in with a Seismitoad on Ferrothorn. He just didn't do anything to win the game. He just sacked things off recklessly, and yeah, it was pretty sad to watch him just sack his designated hard counters to Pokemon like that. But anyway, let's jump into number 9, where you have TFMC, your opponent. So now's your chance to shit talk.
You know, I'm not the shit talker. I'm the nice dude here, like good cop, bad cop. I'm the good cop, you're the bad cop, you know. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways. But yeah, I put TFMC on number 9. And like, even though he had a game plan against me, he still lost 4-0, which was the highest differential loss we had this week. So I couldn't really justify putting him up any higher. And like, even though he did have a game plan, he was just too afraid to execute it. Like, his game plan probably was to DD up with Charizard X and afterwards sweep through my team. But yeah, he was so afraid of my Duck Trio and around my other answers to it that he never brought it in, and never executed his game plan, and yeah, then just the match just slid out of his hands, and he basically handed me the win because he was just too afraid to get proactive and get his win cons in and trying to actually win the match. So yeah, I feel like even though he had a game plan, he was bad at executing it, you know, and it just didn't feel like he was trying hard enough to get himself in a position where he could win the match himself.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'll go more into it when I get up to him, but I decided to put Parksy down a little bit lower, basically just because of how he played around the Salamence. He didn't bring anything to outspeed it except for the Rabombi. And knowing that he only had Rabombi to beat it, he still decided to sack the Rabombi at some point in the game. Very questionable, to say the least. He also made a lot of really bad trades. He traded Toxic with Blastoise with his Quagsire, even though he 100% needed Quagsire to once again not lose to Mence. And he traded Nidoking for that already Toxic Blastoise, which once again, Nidoking was quite an important Pokemon for him. So just a fair few questionable trades that ended up somehow losing him the game to Mence, even though Mence really was not, like, in theory, that big of a threat against his team. He brought a lot of coverage for the Mence. He brought a Quagsire to stop it from getting out of hand with Moxie boosts and D-Dance, and Rabombi to outspeed it, but he just let it all go away. You gotta keep in mind that those Pokemon are useful for more than just toxicking a Blastoise, and play accordingly. And like, even though his opponent made a lot of questionable plays too, he still wasn't able to pull out the win, so he is kind of low down.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said as well. That's I put him on A, just one spot above it. But yeah, like it feels like Parksy forgot that Salamence isn't affected by sticky webs, um, which which is funny to think about that someone actually forget that. But yeah, like his answer to the Salamence basically wasn't there after the Salamence would get up a Moxie boost. I mean, I guess I understand that he maybe thought as well that the Mence would be Intimidate. But that's just bad prep, basically, that he didn't think about that the Mence also could be Moxie. And yeah, like that, the Mence was able to run through his team because he didn't have a really good answer, or any answer, after he sacked Ribombi. And yeah, you know, as you said, he just didn't have anything to outspeed him, the Mence. Just let's say because he thought that Mence would get affected by sticky webs.
I don't know. I don't know if it was because of that. I think he was just hoping that Rabombi would be enough and that he would be able to stop the Mence from DDing up to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shit talk him so hard to say that he thought that Mence was affected by webs. I think it just wasn't a big enough priority for him to bring any Scarfers, which with such a slow team that he has, he needs to bring Scarfers.
Yeah, and
he can't rely on webs when, like, with the team that he has. It's just not going to be enough. So he did end up losing because of that. And at number 8, I do have TFMC. He did have the biggest loss as a 4-0, and it was because he played too scared. He tried to play passive around a regen core, and that just never will work. It has not once worked in any team. You cannot outstall a regen core. That's not how that works. He also made some fairly questionable plays all around. He decided to tail glow up on a Tangros and promptly died to a Giga Drain. And then afterwards, I thought that play would lead him to go into Char X so that he could set up and execute his game plan, but it didn't. I don't remember what he even went into, but he just was scared the entire time. I assume he was like, no, I can't go Char X because what if Dugtrio is Scarf? But in this matchup, you had to bite the bullet because Mega Latias is kind of a broken Pokemon and you needed to Dragon Dance up on something to be able to have a chance at beating it. I think overall, he didn't really misplay too much. It's just that he didn't go ahead with his game plan, and that really cost him in the end.
So just to elaborate on what you just said, after he lost his Manaphy, he went into Tentacruel to Rapid Spin the rocks away for his Charizard X, I'm guessing. He just didn't want to take the 50% on his Zardex, I guess. But yeah, it's still, like, that's basically what I said as well, that he was too scared around his win con, which basically lost him the match in the end, so yeah. Coming to number 7, though, we both have the Portland Zydogs here, which lost their week 1 matchup against Gengaraichu 2-0. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this was a pretty close game. I think Orphan played pretty fine for most of the game. He somehow was able to get Finny dead. I don't think if that was anything to do with him. It was more misplaying by Gengar. But in the end, he did pretty massively choke with the Crocodile. He clicked Knockoff instead of Firefang when Firefang just straight up swept the rest of his team. +1 Firefang would have easily knocked out Latios. Firefang was enough to deal with the Amoonguss, etc., etc. But yeah, he banked on Sylveon beating an Amoonguss 1v1, I guess. I don't know exactly what his thought process was in that end game. It was a pretty big joke. I think what happened was that he was like so incredibly caught off guard by the fact that his Infernape died to a Scarf Scizor that he just wasn't thinking straight for the rest of the game and then proceeded to choke it away. But I think he probably played the most solid out of all of the losses. Just a massive choke in the end.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And what we can't forget that Gengaraichu and the New England Pet Rats are a pretty decent team themselves. Like, we both ranked him like top 4, I think, in the post drafts.
Yeah.
So yeah, like his team isn't bad at all, and like you don't have to feel bad to lose to him. And like even though he could have won the match, it's not as big of a blowback than, I don't know, uh, like it's not as big of a blowback than other coaches below him are losing their matches. So yeah. Coming up to number 6 now, though, we both have the West Bromwich Altarias in here, who lost, no, sorry, who won their match against Parksy 2-0. And yeah, we already talked about that match. It, yeah, I don't know, like, the match felt a bit weird. I feel like Mike wouldn't have been able to win the match if Parksy wouldn't have goofed around the men's. So like Parksy really gave Mike the win here, in my opinion, because, you know, he had limited answers to the settlements or Sector's answer to it earlier. So yeah, I feel like if Parksy would have played better, that Mike would have lost, which kind of is which I guess kind of is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
If you would have played better, you would have won the match. Oh, who would have thought? But yeah,
Revelation to me, dude.
But yeah, you know, as I just said, you know, I feel like Mike would have lost if Parksy didn't goof around the men's. So I don't want to say that Mike didn't prep good enough. Like, for example, he could have brought Rapid Spin or Defog to get away the webs from Parksy, which he didn't. But yeah, in the end, he didn't need it because Parksy didn't have any answers to men's. So yeah, weird match, but you edged it out. So congratulations, yay!
Yeah, this was the game that I was saying, what the fuck were they thinking the most during, like, from both sides. Most of the games, it was a pretty one-sided fuck up. But this game, they were just like both making a lot of questionable plays that really lost them a lot. I don't think Mike's game plan was very solid overall. Winning with Ments against the team that Parksy brought was a real long shot to go for, and it did work. It shouldn't have worked. There was no reason that Quagsire should have been toxic. There was no reason why any of that should have happened. Settlements should have been like an early game breaker in that game with the Flying EMZ. It should not have been able to put on that kind of pressure and win the game like it did. It was definitely a lot of the fault to Parksy, and I don't think Mike played particularly well either. Just let hazards go up without spinning them. I don't know. I guess he didn't bring spin on Blastoise because there were a fair few opportunities that he could have clicked it. But yeah, it was just that Parksy made really bad trades that ended up giving Mike a much easier pathway to victory. So
yeah,
I guess that's how he won. Number 5, I've got myself, and you've got Spoink. You can start.
Sure. So I put the Spoinkers on 5, and you know, even though they won their match against Jing 3-0, I just don't know if it was that convincing. You know, like as I said earlier, like Genghis played really bad around his matchup. Like second off his Cofagrigus relatively early, like I don't know, turn 10 or so, and then basically he didn't have any answers to most of the mons that Spoink had. Like he didn't have anything to outspeed a Terrakion except for his Choice Scarf Victini, which I guess would work if you have if you are able to Zen Headbutt the Terrakion. But even then, that's super hard to execute, and I just felt like that Genghis was lacking the answers to the team that Spoink brought, and yeah, that's like lowering a bit the rankings of the Spoinkers, because same as you, like they more or less got handed the victory. I don't know, like it's I don't want to discredit Spoink here because he still won convincingly against Genghis, and good job on that, but I just felt like that the people I put above him had a somewhat more harder matchup than he had.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I might be a little bit hypocritical in putting him higher, even though he had a very similar go of it as I did. but I did put myself at number 5 simply because I don't believe I had to try at all in that game versus Kohan. He brought a bunch of fucking joke sets to me, and his game plan was get a kill with Semi-Seer. That's what he said in chat. He wanted a kill with Semi-Seer. Once he got the kill with Semi-Seer, he was satisfied. And like, if I'm fighting an opponent whose game plan is get a kill, that's obviously pretty much the definition of a free win. It didn't feel like a competitive game, so it didn't give me a chance to show myself as being worthy of higher ranks than any of the other players. And just to clarify, this is not a roast of Kohanks as a person. This is a roast of Kohanks in the context of the fact that he is not taking this league seriously. No disrespect to you as a human, just so that you don't get all mad at me for speaking the truth about how terrible that game was. But let's jump into number 4, where you have myself. You can talk about that now.
Do I have to, though?
I think the fans would appreciate it.
Damn it. But yeah, like I put you on number 4, and even though you had to face, or like only had to face the randomized team of the Reno Raikus, I guess it still wasn't as free as you made it out to be. Like, even though his game plan only was to get a kill on Semi-Seer, which he achieved, by the way, you know.
Yeah, good on him. He got a kill against offense with a Semi-Seer that had no real switch into Semi-Seer. Cool.
I mean, you know, you could have brought, heck, I don't know, you could have brought your, let's
I
not
guess
talk-
I could have swapped in Gyarados and risked Burns or something, but no, I didn't have a real swap into it.
But yeah, let's not talk about that. But yeah, like I feel like even though he brought meme sets, he still got some kills off of you, and even though he never really threatened you to like win the match, because just of the way he played and which sets he brought and the time he spent prepping, which was 5 minutes according to him.
Yeah, it was not very good.
Yeah, like, but yeah, still, even though, in my opinion, he still played better than Genghis did. And again, sorry Genghis for trash talking you so hard. But yeah, like, I just couldn't justify putting you below the Spoinkers and below the West Bromwich Atarias, because they got their victories handed to them. And,
that's true.
And yeah, you know, I just still felt like, even though it was a free win, you still had to work for it, you know, like that doesn't really sound right, but I hope you get what I'm saying, because, you know, like, Kohan didn't make any big misplays which led to you winning the match. It's just like he brought shit, so it was easier for you to win your match, but like he didn't. That's basically why I put you on 4, because Kohan didn't misplay, he just brought shit.
I'm sorry guys, I've got really bad internet, so this is cutting out. This is the second time we've tried to record this. Gumby forgot to record my audio. But
don't tell them.
I had to let them know. But yeah, I gotta say, just going off of what you said, that I definitely heard and did not have any of it cut out whatsoever. That I just did what was expected of me that game. I didn't have to do anything special to win that game. The only kills that he really got on me were some like really weird off guard catching things, like a Scarf Jolly Beware outspeeding the one thing that Jolly helped it outspeed. But regardless, coming in at number 4, I have New England Pat Rats, who are coached by Gengar. No, not Gengar.
Oh, no, that's right.
Who are they coached by? Gengar?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, so Gengar for fucking...
Online Orphan.
Gengar for Orphan, yes. I remember now. Sorry. I forgot a lot of the stuff I was talking about the first run through. I apologize for that. What I do remember is that he sacked the Finny like really early to sell a Stealer for some reason. He really needed the Finny. Finny was super important for dealing with Infernape and Crocodile. I guess he was really confident that Scarf Sizzle would be the way to beat Infernape and Crocodile, and it worked out. So I guess I can't fault him too hard for it. It just wasn't the right play. He had a Latios and stuff to go into on the Celesteela. There was no reason for him to sack the Finny at all, but he still did. We'll take it back to the point I was just on, which I believe was the Scarf Sizzle beating the Infernape. Great stuff for that. But realistically, you should have lost this game. You ended up winning because Orphan choked rather than because you played the end game well. So I could have put you at 4th instead of 5th. 5th instead of 4th. Bumped myself up a bit if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't respect the game versus Kohan as heavily as I did. So I guess that's kind of works to your benefit. Congratulations on 4th. Let's jump into number 3, where we have Levi and the Toronto Weaviles, and this is kind of continuing on the theme of games kind of being handed to people. Not as much, but definitely to an extent. Tapu Koko, pretty good Pokemon. Tapu Koko is a really good Pokemon when your opponent doesn't have a Ferrothorn anymore. I guess the game goes really well when your opponent stacks their answer to your biggest threats, and that's exactly what happened. You played well enough. The Seismitoad play was quite good. You got up rocks, you got in Koko and the opportunities that you needed to. You didn't risk anything. So you played well around your opponent's poor play. So you definitely do deserve this high spot, even though it came down a lot to your opponent playing poorly. You definitely proved yourself to be a good, competent player regardless, because you did need to think a fair bit more about how to kill the Ferrothorn, even if they just gave it to you.
Yeah, I can thoroughly agree with that. Like, Levy didn't play bad. Like, he really didn't. Obviously, he won his match. But I've just... but it's just like that his opponent could have done much better at preserving his... I don't want to say win cons, but like at preserving the Pokemons, which stops Levi from winning. So, yeah, basically what you said. Levi did it good though, and was able to overcome those struggles, which he could have had, but he hadn't because he just pressed the obvious moves and Baron stayed in on it. So, yeah, deserved 3rd place, I guess. And yeah, moving up to number 2, where I put the New England Pet Rats, who won again against Orphan and the Zydox, which was the number 1 team in the post-draft for both of us. So I just felt like that it would have was super deserved to put him here, even though it wasn't really a case of him winning the game, but often losing the game. Because yeah, Orphan definitely could have won that match if he didn't sack off his... What was it again in the end? I don't know.
He clicked knockoff instead of Firefang with Crocodile when Firefang won the game.
Yeah, that. And yeah, like if Orphan didn't do that, then he would have won against the Pet Rats, but he didn't. And yeah, Pet Rats here number 2 because they won against the arguably best team in the league. So congratulations on that. So tell us about your Spoinkers picking too.
Number 2, I had Spoink and the Spoinkers. Great name, by the way. Just want to say that. Honestly, all these positions, I don't think anyone necessarily deserved like the 2 and 1 spot just based on their play. I think a lot of it came down to the opponents not playing up to scratch. And this was no different. This was up against Jingus, who sacked off his Kofag, basically turn 3. It didn't die until turn 10, but it was at 20%.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just basically was sacked turn 3. And yeah, the opponent just sent out things incorrectly, did a lot of stuff wrong, but credit where credit's due. He didn't misplay at all, I don't think. I feel like Levi did misplay a little bit, which did drop him down a bit. I don't remember where he misplayed, so maybe I'm wrong. I just do remember him misplaying a bit. Meanwhile, Squink just kind of did exactly what he needed to do. It wasn't like a massive win, but it was it was the biggest win that he needed, especially considering he does have a rather offensive team. At least what it brought was rather offensive. So also stuff like the Tangerberry Reuniclus to beat the Buzzwole and stuff like that shows that he's really got a good mind for prep as well. So that's why I decided to bring him up to number 2. But at number 1, we have you, and I know you're reveling this.
Yeah, now basically comes...
You can go ahead and circle jerk yourself to your heart's content.
Yeah, now basically it's following the favorite part of this LPR for me, because we both put myself at number 1, and that just feels so good. And basically I don't care what you have to say bad about me. It was good enough to justify the number 1 spot, even for your viewings. So yeah, like I can't be mad about that. So this is all just a huge pat on the back for me. So I'll just sit back and enjoy.
Okay, so ignoring that, so Gumby got the biggest win by 1. He got +4 win, and the teams below, like the teams that got +3 wins, had the worst opponents according to our power rankings, both the 11th and 12th slots. So biggest differential win was one of the reasons why he got ahead. Another reason is, of course, that I ranked his opponent the highest without the opponent actually looking like they were going to win. Orphan looks like he should have won, so I'm not counting that. But realistically, he switched around a lot. You made a bunch of weird switches that I didn't understand, that made the game drag on for way longer than it needed to and risked a lot for no reason. For example, you hard switched Weavile in on Manaphy, which didn't make sense. It worked out, but it didn't make sense. And in the end, you just won because Mega Latias is a broken Pokemon and your opponent had no way of killing it except for the Charizard, which, once again, he didn't want to get trapped by Dugtrio. So,
yeah,
you were able to make him play scared, which was good, but a lot of it came down to just having a broken Pokemon that the opponent couldn't deal with. So.
And I'm okay with that, okay? So my broken Pokemon... my broken Pokemon...
I'm just saying, week 2 probably won't be the same. Won't be the same ranks. I expect a drop, even though you'll probably win your next game.
But yeah, just to elaborate on my things, on my thoughts on my match. I do agree with you that I probably switched around too much in my regenerator call, and I didn't need to necessarily let the game turn out so long as it was, like 47 turns or whatever. So yeah, I definitely agree with that I played a bit too cautious, I guess, around his team. And I definitely could have won it earlier. In my defense, I also lost it a lot. I let it turn out so long because my Weavile missed a rather crucial icicle crash on the Superior, and if it didn't miss that, I would have probably won 5-0. Not that it really matters too much, but yeah. So basically, I was the only coach which got like bad hacks this week, which is just so typical. Just so typical for me. That's
another reason why I did rank you higher, because unlike all the other coaches, you had to fight against the game as well. you fought against the game and you won. So that's more props for that. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, I know. I just have like this bad hacks magnet on my back, but
yeah.
Oh well. I try to not break my wrist over it anymore. So
yeah. Been going to anger management classes?
No. No.
Oh well. Yeah. I think that wraps it up. Hopefully this time there's no problems.
No.
Tune in next week. Week 2 power rankings should be better. the first take's always better, guys. Just keep that in mind.
I mean, even though this is our second take at this, we managed to record for a longer time than we did on our first try. So,
yeah, that's to be fair. When you edit out that big gap, it'll probably be a little bit more in line. But yeah, I think that wraps it up, guys. Make sure to stay tuned for week 2 of the TBF Power Rankings. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to myself and Gumby. If you really want to, you can even subscribe to all 12 of the coaches. I know that might be asking a bit much, but I'm sure they would all appreciate it very much.
Well,
I think that's it.
Actually, just subscribe to me because, let's face it, I do the best content in this league, and yeah, like, just subscribe to me. Like, yeah, it's what you should do. And, well, subscribe to the TBF YouTube channel because I do videos on here too. So that's probably the 2 you should subscribe to.
But or if you like good content, not bad content, you can subscribe to me as well. I do basically just draft bit matches. I'm sure none of you care, so let's just wrap it up now. Bye.
See you next week, guys. Bye.